Hello, all my CBSE students. How are you all? Today we are starting our geography section, and chapter is resources and development. In my three previous videos, I have taught you about this civics chapter, federalism. And now we are going towards the geography section, resources and development. I think from fourth, fifth standard, you all are studying the term resources. So this is not a new thing. And when we pronounce resources, the two terms, renewable and non-renewable resources, are the common, and everyone know about this. But in this chapter, we are going to study it deeply. What are the resources? How it is useful for the development of the country, for the development of the human. So come on, let's start this chapter. Resources and development. First of all, anyone could tell me what is resources? I know it's not possible because we are on video. We are on lecture, right? Resources. What is the meaning of resources? In simple word, if I want to say resources, that means that element, that thing, that material which utilized by human or living being for producing energy, and this energy used for performing task. So in simple words, if I want to explain you resources, each and every that thing, that material, that element which gives energy for performing task. So that is resources. This is the simple language. We cannot write in paper. So what should we write when resources has been asked? What are resources, or what is resources? So everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs, provided it is technologically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable, can be termed as resources. This is book definition, and we have to write this. But to understand what is resources, I must say that thing, that element which present in the environment, which can be utilized by human being or living beings for producing energy. That is resources. So many resources you know very well, like sun, like wind, water, land, forest, even human itself, resources, right? So here we are not talking about all this. Here we are talking about the types of resources, how it is available, what are their distributions, these all things. So I think you very well understand the term resources. Here you have a diagram, physical environment, technology, and institute. These three pillars of resources. Basically, anything or any element can be converted into resources when nature, that means physical environment, technology, that means human skill, and institution, that means that medium which convert these elements into the resources. If these three interact with each other, only then it is called resources. Just for example, or one thing I want to say, before the industrial development and before the scientific inventions like fire, wheel, electricity, before all these inventions, these elements still presented in environment, but those primitive era early human being couldn't utilize its power, its energy. So at that time, they weren't resources. They were only physical elements, nothing else. But now we are utilizing its energy, its power, and we are performing a task through this energy. So that's why nowadays they are resources. Understand? Water. Early human beings couldn't produce uh, hydroelectricity from water. So in that terms, water wasn't resources at that time, but we are using now. So it is resources at this time. Definitely, early human beings cultivated farms at that time. So land, sun, all these were resources. But directly producing energy, no. The second thing, mineral oils, metals were quite away from the reach of early human beings. And I am talking about the Stone Age when people hardly knew about the metals. So at these times, metals, mineral oils, all kinds of minerals which buried under the beneath of the earth, all these were not resources. They were present, but they were not considered as resources. Why? Because they were not utilized by they were not utilized for producing energy. So thus physical environment, that means nature, technology and institutions, these three interactions of these three elements perform or produced resources, or we can say there's three responsible for the production of resources. Okay, this is the simple diagram. Now the process of transformation of things available in our environment involves an interactive relationship between nature, technology and institutions, as I told you now. Resources are function of human activities. Human beings themselves are essential components of resources. I told you, humans also consider it as a resource, and that's why we are called it HR, human resource. Very simple thing. Without human, this technology couldn't work, and without technology, resources couldn't possible. So human itself become a medium for producing energy. So that's why human itself components of resource. They transform material available in our environment into resource and use them. Right? On the basis of all this availability and etc., our syllabus had divided resources into four types. The first of all, on the basis of origin, where it would be gain, biotic and abiotic. Very simple. Biotic, that means which belongs to living being, or we can say each and every living being on the earth known as a biotic resources. Abiotic, that means which hasn't life. So that belongs to abiotic category. On the basis of exhaustibility, how it is exhaustible? That means when it could be reproduced. Once we used any resources, it's over. But if it is reproduced again and again very fast, that means it is renewable. But these resources, when we used it, and then it takes generation to generation, thousands of years to be reproduced. So they are non-renewable resources. Very simple definition for both. On the basis of ownership, there are three categories: individual, national, and international. Individual resources, that means those resources which belong to particular person or a community. Just for example, you are living in your house, so that house is your individual property. So that is individual resources. But the area, that colony where you are living, that is not for whole yours. It is divided among the public living there. So that is called national resources. You cannot blame, you cannot control that community, you cannot control that your city, your nation. So everything belonged to national resources. And international resources, that means which is not belonged to any country. Suppose, just for example, ocean bodies. It is decided globally that I think 12 nautical mile in ocean bodies belonged to each country. Bordering 12 nautical miles belong to each country. That means from west of Gujarat to east of Bay of Bengal, 12 nautical mile areas covered with the boundaries of India. But rather than other areas belonged to the globally. And that kind of which is available in that areas belonged to international resources. Very simple meaning of this. That means the fishermen could only fishing into the 12 nautical miles surrounding the coastal lines. That's it. Otherwise, it's a global area and you cannot take any resources which are available in ocean body. Okay, so that is international. We learned it about deeply in the further chapter pages. Now, fourth one, on the basis of status of development, how it is useful. Just for example, iron. Iron used everywhere in your routine lives. Can you imagine your 5 minutes without using iron? I know it's not possible. The watch in which you are watching time, it is also made of iron. There is one iron thing used in it. Your house, your everything, furniture, whatever, your vehicles, everything, even your books in which you are writing, they need staple pins. This made up of iron, right? So iron is a potential. That means on the basis of status of development. So potential, developed stocks, and reserves. These three categories belonged to the development. Here I am giving only one example, iron, but I want to say potential development, that means which completely utilized. That resources which used for development easily and properly. That is potential. Developed stock, that means which is not completely converted into producing energy. That is developed stock. And reserve, which known by everyone but not yet utilized for producing energy. So that is stock, reserves, the resources. Okay, here you have here you have one cost table. Resources, it is divided into two part, natural and human. Natural resources again divided into another two, renewable and non-renewable. Renewable can be divided continuous or flow, that is we called, which can be never exhausted. Once you used, then it's okay. No. Wind, water, solar, all these are called continuous or flowless resources, while biological resources, that means that resources which have living being characteristics, all kinds of insects, human beings, plants, flowers, everything. This biological also divided in two parts, natural and wildlife. Human being, animals, birds, insects are wildlife, while plants, flowers, medicinal herbs, everything are in natural vegetation. So thus these are divided. Natural, renewable, continuous, biological, natural, and wildlife. Now further, natural resources divided into non-renewable also. And this non-renewable, that means recyclable and non-recyclable. Those metals which can be recycled and produced another very good, that is recyclable. Paper, this is also recyclable, but non-recyclable, that means fossil fuels. Once you used 2 liter petrol in your car, then it cannot be recycled. It's completely smoke and it's never recycled. So that is non-recyclable. Natural resources, the other type of resources is human structures and institutions and quantity and quality. So these are the types of resources in a classification as a table. Okay. So now here we are discussing about the types of resources. I have already cleared the doubt, the meanings of all these types. Biotic resources, that means which obtained through biosphere, which obtained through living beings, and abiotic, that means which has no life. The composed of non-living things are called abiotic. Here you have examples. Biotic resources, that means flora, fauna, fisheries, livestock, etc. And abiotic resources, that means rocks, metals, waters, land, all these are abiotic. Renewable and non-renewable, you know very well, which can be reproduced again and again, so that is renewable resources. Solar, wind, water, forest, all these renewable resources. But non-renewable, that means which takes thousands of years geological time, so that is a non-renewable resources. Fossil fuels like mineral oils, coal, they are called non-renewable resources. Okay. Now on the basis of ownership, so individual, community owned resources, national and international. So these four types are the resources based on ownership. Individual, that means those which owned by particular person. So that is farmers who have land. So that lands belong to particular farmer. So that is individual resource. As well as community resource, which I told you about the villages, the city. Suppose we are living in Bhavnagar. The area of Bhavnagar belonged to particular Bhavnagari people. So that is community resources. Park, buildings, temples, church, everything, they called community resource. Then national resource, which belong to completely to that particular country. One thing I told you, that each and every resource in the country belonged to nation. Just for example, you are living in Bhavnagar, but Bhavnagar is a part of Gujarat and Gujarat is a part of India, and thus you are become the part of India. So your personal house where you are living belonging to you, it is also belonging to India. So thus technically all the resources belong to the nation. Except this, there are so many other things. Just for example, roads between two cities, it is not for the one city or two city, it is belong to nation. That river which flowing from one state to so many other states, that is also belonged to nation. So thus national resources belong to the particular country itself. Here you have given what I told you, oceanic area up to 12 nautical miles. That means almost 22.2 kilometer from coastal term or coastal line. So that all the resources, whatever available in this 12 nautical mile area into the ocean body, belonged to nation's resources. And what is about the international resource? Those which are regulated through the global level, that is international resource. Oceanic resources beyond 200 nautical miles of the exclusive economic zone, so that is international institution or resources. Here you have, do you know, and this is important for objectives. So read it. On the basis of status of development, potential resource, developed resource, stock and resource, these four. Potential, which found in regions but have not been utilized properly. Suppose, just for example, Rajasthan, Gujarat have really very much potential for producing solar and wind energy from the coastal lines, but it is not utilized properly. So that is potential. Developed, that means which can be used. Resources which are surveyed and their quality and quantity have been determined for the utilization. These kinds of resources known as developed resources stock materials in environment which have potential to satisfy human needs, but human beings do not have the appropriate proper technology to access this. So just for example, solar. Nowadays, we become aware, and so many people had started implementing solar panels on their roof. Otherwise, it it's like we are not using solar energy properly. The another thing, water. Water has H2O, hydrogen and oxygen both. Hydrogen itself a major source of energy, but we are not using water as a resources or as producing energy. So that hydrogen which remain in water remain unused. So that is also called stock energy or stock resources. Might be happen that after some period of time any technology developed which can obtain hydrogen from water, and this hydrogen could be used as a resource. So that's why it is stock. And the third one is the reserves. Reserves are the subset, another type of a stock. Here, stock, that means we know that it has, but we haven't appropriate technology for producing energy. And reserves, that means which can be put into use with the help of existing technology. That means we have technology and we can use it, but we are not using. So that is reserves. So thus, three or four types of resources you have seen here. Okay. Now the development of resources. You know very well now how the resources are important. We cannot imagine our one day, not even one day, one moment of our life without resources. That's why resources are vital. Human needs are abundant, never finished, but we have very limited resources. So, for maintaining the quality of life, we need to improve our lifestyle as well as we need to improve our technology to develop the resources, right? So, it was believed that resources are a free gift of nature. As a result, human beings used them indiscriminately. Indiscriminately. These led to the following major problems. There are only few countries which have mineral oil, right? And those countries are selling these mineral oils at very high prices. Basically, whatever available in the earth or from the earth, it's belonged to everyone on the world. But these countries selling these mineral oils at very, very high prices. So, thus, these resources are divided among indiscriminately. It is not that everywhere everything is available. Depletion of resources for satisfying the greed of a few individuals, accumulations of resources in few hands, which in turn divided the society into two segments, have and have not, poor or rich. Just for example, as I told you, mineral oils which belong to some Gulf countries also. Oh, sorry, some Gulf countries only. These Gulf countries completely controlled, and America wanted to control these Gulf countries so that the distributionship of all these mineral oils belonged to them or controlled by America. And that's why they wanted to be superpower. But that is not proper. It should be divided among each and every country equally, or who can pay it, right? So, accumulation of resources in few hands, which in turn divided the society in two segments. Indiscriminate exploitation of resources has led to global ecological crises such as global warming, ozone layer depletion, environmental pollution, and land degradation. So basically, we can say all this because of the not properly divided resources among the country. Okay, here you have activities, some questions, and you should answer them and send me on my WhatsApp number. The oil, I told you now, oil problem, and there's two questions belonged to them. So you have to answer these four questions and send me on my WhatsApp number. An equitable distribution of resources has become essential for a sustained quality of life and global space. Present trend of resources depletion by a few individuals and countries continues. The future of our planet is in danger. Therefore, resource planning is essential for sustainable existence of all forms of life. What is sustainable existence? And sustainable existence is a component of sustainable development. Then what is a sustainable development? The most IMP question of your this chapter. Sustainable development. Sustainable economic development means development should take place without damaging the environment, and development in the present should not compromise with the needs of the future generation. One thing I tell you, that the development which nowadays we are doing, that is on the cost of future generation. However, and whenever we are utilizing these resources very fastly, that in next future generation, it might be possible that they couldn't even know these resources. So, on the basis of the or on the compromising of the next future generation, whatever development is not a sustainable development. Sustainable development, that means that development which take place without damaging environment as well as with the present, should not compromise with the needs of the future generation. Here you have another article based on Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit in 1992. It is also one important topic or one important question for you. Okay, so read it properly. I am not going to read now. You have to read it properly and write down in short note on this. The article Rio de Janeiro 1992. You have to also discuss Agenda 21 in that short note. Okay. These three questions as well as the short note on Rio de Janeiro, you have to submit me within 2 days. Now the resources planning. As we told that we are wasting resources. So how could we use it? So that is called resource planning. Planning is the widely accepted strategy for judicious use of resources. It has importance in a country like India, which has enormous diversity in the availability of resources. You know very well that India has each and every type of landform present. We have glaciers, we have a desert area, we have plateaus, plains, valleys, mountains, everything. So we have a diversified resources availability. So region which are rich in certain types of resources but are deficient in some other resources. It is possible that the areas like Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Orissa, these are completely naturally abundant resources. It has water, it has minerals, it has metal ores, everything. Right? But in these areas, still there is less development. People of these areas were completely poor, we can say, like this. We are discussing it later. There are some regions which can be considered self-sufficient in terms of availability of resources, and there are some regions which have acute shortage of some vital resources. For example, the states of Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, and Madhya Pradesh are rich in minerals and coal deposit. Arunachal Pradesh has abundance of water availability, but lacks in infrastructural development. State of Rajasthan is very well endowed with solar and wind energy, but lack of water resources. Cold desert of Ladakh is relatively completely isolated from the rest of the country. It has very rich cultural heritage, but it is deficient in water, infrastructure facility, and some vital minerals too. So this call is a calls for balanced resource planning at the national, state, and regional and local level. Availability of resources is a necessary condition for the development of any region, but more availability and of resources and the absence of corresponding changes in technology and institutions may hinder the development. As I give you example of Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Bihar, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh. Relatively, the population of these area, Orissa, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Bihar, relative to the other states, they are completely poor comparative to other states. On the contrary, the states like Maharashtra, Gujarat, which have less resources but more developed technology, they are richer than these states or these regions. So here you can see this one also. There are many regions in our country that are rich in resources, but these are included in economically backward regions like Orissa, Chhattisgarh. On the contrary, there are some regions which have poor resource base, but they are economically developed. Right? Like Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat. Here you have asked, can you name some resource rich but economically backward? As well as resource backward but economically strong regions. Basically, our India's history, that means Britishers and all those European people entered into the India and exploited India for almost 400 years, and this is because of this resources development. India has from the ancient time abundance of resources, and the European people were completely missing these resources. So most of the European people had started colonized the other countries. Not only India, but so many South African countries also has been colonized by these European people. So this foreign invader came to India and other countries and colonized it. It was primarily higher level of technological development of the colonizing countries that helped them to exploit resource of other regions and establish their supremacy over the colonies. Therefore, resources can contribute to development only when they are accompanied by appropriate technological development and institutional changes. Okay. Now the conservations of resources. Conservation to prevent, not to exploit, that is conservation. Resources are vital for any developmental activity, but irrational consumption and overutilization of resource may lead to socio-economic and environmental problems. To overcome these problems, resources conservation at various levels is important. This had been the main concern of the leaders and thinkers in the past. For example, Gandhiji always said there is enough for everyone, not for anybody's greed. He always advocated masses production by masses, not for mass production. The difference between mass production and production by masses is mass production, that means which can be produced in a company, in a big factories with the help of less workers, but abundantly. But production by masses, that means so many people together produce small portion of any kind of production. So that is production by masses. The view behind this was only that each and every people of the society could get opportunity for earning. Production mass always snatching the opportunity for earning from the people. But production by the masses generate this opportunity, and thus the whole community could be developed, whole community could be survived properly. So here we are now completing our video. Here you have another article, small is beautiful, like that, our common future, all these things. You have to just read it, nothing else. In the next video, I will discuss about land resources. What are the types of lands? Later on, what are the types of soil? What is soil formation, soil erosion, everything. But in the next video, okay? So today I am signing out, and you have to submit my homework within 2 days. Okay? Which homework? Again, I give you this. On the page number 3, activity, and write short note on Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit with Agenda 21. Okay, if you have any doubt, then contact me on my personal number, and you have to send your homework within 2 days. Okay, have a good day. Bye-bye. Stay home, stay safe. Bye.